What question should your estate planning attorney be asking you? Look, when you first meet with your estate planning attorney, there are key questions he or she should be asking you, and we are going to talk about what those questions are right now. Hey guys, Elliott Feldman here, estate planning attorney at the Elliott Feldman Law Group, where we create estate plans that actually work when your loved ones need it most. If you ever have any questions about this topic or need to talk about your estate planning needs, you can schedule a time to talk with me over the phone for free by going to myestatemeeting.com. Okay, let's talk about the questions your estate planning attorney should be asking you when you first meet with him. All right, so some consumers get nervous before they go see the estate planning attorney. They don't really know if it's going to be painful, confusing, or difficult. So that's why I wanted to make this video so you can know ahead of time what to expect when you sit down with your estate planning attorney. So the first question I always start out with is, it kind of goes something like, what do you want to make sure we talk about in our discussion today? Now, this can be phrased in other ways like, what do you want to make sure we address in this initial discussion today? You see, my job is actually to ask you questions to pull out what's most important to you and to uncover your goals so I can actually help you accomplish them. Now, the only way I can do that is by asking you the right questions to help you bring your goals to the surface. Now, this is where I'll start getting some of that feedback from the clients. As an example, the husband and wife type of couple that comes in, they'll be like, Elliott, we got a son that's been in and out of rehab more times than a Hollywood rock band, and he's still boozing and drugging no matter how much, we try to help him. So we want to make sure we address that. Or, Elliott, we have children from our prior marriages, so we want to get that part all squared out and straight. Or, Elliott, we want to make sure that the diamond necklace goes to our daughter, but the house goes to our son. And of course, another concern that's wanting to be addressed is, well, Elliott, we want to make sure that our kids spend their inheritance on college and don't get the opportunity to blow it all away too fast. Now, at that point, an inexperienced attorney will just start talking about what he wants to talk about, But a good attorney, after gaining those initial insights from you, would have been listening intently in order to know the next appropriate question to ask you to uncover your goals and the reasonings behind them. That next question could be something like, I see, so why is that the most important thing to you? Or why do you want to leave that to your daughter? Now, it'll go on like that for a little bit as the lawyer helps you bring to the surface what your goals are. Then there's going to be some generic type of questions that are going to be asked in every single estate planning conversation. Now, as we tackle the generic questions, I often say sometimes it's just easier if we start at the end and work our way backwards. So after you both pass away, how do you want the assets that you have left to be distributed? Moreover, after you both pass away, is the distribution in your mind going to go any way other than to your children equally? Most of the time, married couples want to leave everything to their kids equally, but sometimes I'll hear that they want to give a specific gift to a specific child, or one child is financially worse off than the rest, so they want to leave that child with the house, whatever the case may be. Then the next generic question I would ask would be, if you have to put someone in charge of the distribution of your assets, who would you want that person to be? What I'm really asking is, who would you want to be your executor if we're creating a will for you, or trustee if we're creating a trust? Is it going to be only your spouse or only your adult child? Will you have co-trustees where it's both the spouse and the adult child? If it's only your spouse or only your adult child, then how will those decisions affect the family members who are not selected? The next question I would bring up is, after you both pass away, how do you want things to be left to each other when one of you pass away? So we talked about what would happen after you both pass away, but the next question would deal with, how do you want things to be left to each other when one of you passes away? Now, this is an important question because there's really important distinctions here. So some just want to leave everything to the surviving spouse, but some worry if they leave the entire estate to the surviving spouse, then their spouse could theoretically cut the kids out of the estate. So that's why some people prefer it if there were protections in place for the children so that the surviving spouse can't divert the entire estate to other people other than the children. Another generic question will include, if you're ever mentally incapacitated, who do you want to be able to make your financial or medical decisions on your behalf as a power of attorney? Look, it's a complete nightmare to everybody involved if you become incapacitated by, say, getting into a car wreck and ending up in a coma and then your IRA needs to be dealt with, or you have a car in your name that can't be sold since you can't personally sign the paperwork because you didn't name anyone to be your power of attorney. In that scenario where you didn't get a power of attorney in place, family members will often find themselves in this guardian interdiction proceeding in which some consider to be even worse than probate. So you can address all of that by just naming the right people to be your power of attorney. Most married people want their spouse to be their power of attorney, but you always need to name a backup, which could be a child or children together, could be a sibling, someone that's responsible and you just know you can trust. Another question that would be asked is, what would be your desire regarding life support machines and whether you'd want to direct your family and doctors to pull the plug or not if you were on life support in a vegetative state with no chance of recovery. You know, some people just want to make that decision ahead of time so that their children don't have to make that end of life decision for them. So that's another question we would ask. Another standard question that should be discussed is whether you want to make all of these gifts to your beneficiaries in your estate plan through a will or through a revocable living trust. Moreover, do you want to do a will so that everything will still be in your name when you die, so your survivors will be forced to hire a probate attorney that they would have to pay up to $10,000 to $15,000 to take them through that court-supervised probate process for 6 to 12 months so they can retitle assets out of your deceased name and into their name per the terms of your will? Or would you rather set things up in a revocable living trust so that when you pass away, things are titled in the name of your trust so that your family does not need to go through the probate court process to get your assets, but they can get your assets per the terms of your trust almost instantly? Now, those questions and topics will come up in virtually every estate planning conversation with an attorney, but there are a few other topics that could be brought up in unique circumstances, like if your estate is likely going to be valued at over $11.58 million if you're an individual, or over $23.16 million if you're a married couple, then we'll need to have a conversation about estate tax planning. Or if you'd be interested in giving a portion of your estate to your favorite charity, church, or school, you know, then we'd have to bring in a discussion about charitable bequest planning. Or if you own rental properties, even if you have liability insurance on them, it would be appropriate to have a discussion about, you know, how to structure your rental properties into LLCs in order to shield you personally from being sued for monetary damages in case that those damages would exceed your liability insurance coverage. But I wanted just to give you an idea of what typically comes up in conversations with estate planning attorneys so you'd at least know what to expect before going in. All right, in summary, when you meet with your estate planning attorney, a good rule of thumb for how it should go is the attorney is going to be asking you key questions about what your goals are and what you'd like to accomplish for yourself and your family in your estate plan. If the conversation is going right, then you'll be doing most of the talking while your attorney is actively listening, so that by the end of that discussion, you and your attorney will know exactly what you need to have happen to give you the perfect customized program that actually accomplishes your goals, protects your family, and builds your legacy. Hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell next to it to be notified for new videos I post each week. And if you like it, then please hit the like button. And if you know someone that needs to hear this, please share it with them. If you have a question or comment, please leave one. And if you ever have any questions about this topic or need to talk about your estate planning needs, you can set up a time to talk with me over the phone for free by going to myestatemeeting.com. That's myestatemeeting.com. Again, this is Elliott Feldman, estate planning attorney at the Elliott Feldman Law Group, where we create estate plans that actually work when your loved ones need it most. Take care.